You know, pens aren't the only thing they make well. Hi everyone and welcome to Shaluso, and today we're going to be talking about Montblanc, specifically their new releases for 2020. About 3 weeks ago from when I'm recording this, Montblanc along with the rest of the Richemont group released a bunch of new releases for 2020, but the Montblanc ones did sort of get a bit lost in the hype of, you know, the Cartier releases, the IWC ones, the Breitling ones that happened the week before. So they didn't really get a lot of attention. So that's why I want to put some focus on them, because Montblanc has been making a lot of really good moves in making watches that are good value, but that are also distinctive, especially considering their price point. So today I'm going to be talking about two highlights from their new releases that I really think stood out, that deserve a little bit more attention, and that might even offer alternatives to what you're currently looking at. And the first one I want to talk about is the 1858 Geosphere. Now, the Geosphere is a watch that's been on my radar for quite some time. I've always liked it, but for me, one reason why I never really ended up pulling the trigger on it was because it didn't come on a bracelet. However, it seems that Montblanc has listened to my thoughts and wishes, and this year they came out with a new Geosphere on a bracelet, but they took it one step further. Not only have they released the new Geosphere on a bracelet, but they've also released it with an amazing blue gradient dial, and they didn't just put it on a bracelet. Instead, they released a version that was in titanium with a titanium and steel bracelet. And the contrast of titanium and steel is amazing. I talked a lot about that in my video of the Panerai Luminor GMT. And just the way the titanium contrasts, because titanium is generally a much darker metal versus steel. And they've actually polished the steel on this beads of rice bracelet. So it still has a really vintagey old style look, but it looks so much better with this contrast between titanium and steel. The blue dial is beautiful. It's been inspired from ice and sort of Arctic exploration. A lot of the Montblanc watches, especially the 1858 collection, they have a theme of sort of explorers and, you know, mountaineers, things like that. So I like how they've incorporated that vibe, but given it a new sort of flavor. It looks a lot colder, but also a lot cooler, if that makes any sense. Functionally, it remains the same, so it has a Sellita SW300 on the inside with a Montblanc manufacturer module on top of it, which gives you a 24-hour hand in the small sub dial at 9 o'clock, and you have at 12 and 6 o'clock 2 half world times. So you could technically use this as a full world timer plus a GMT. And also you have a rotating bezel, which if you know roughly where those markers are, you could in still theory use it like you could use a dive bezel in terms of using it as like a countdown timer or as a sort of poor man's chronograph. So overall, this is a very complete watch, and coming in at only $6,200 US, and that's before you consider the possibility of discounts at retail and pre-owned pricing, it represents really, really good value in my opinion, because this is a world timer, a GMT, has a date, it's automatic, ceramic bezel, and it's in titanium and steel, and on a full bracelet, and it also has 100 meters water resistance. And it's a design that stands out completely from anything else in that segment, whether that be in the price segment or in the case of being a world timer, in the case of being a GMT. So I really think it's a very cool option. I'm really glad they went down that route. Continuing on, we have the 1858 Monopusher chronograph. And this is a watch that I think looks absolutely amazing. Some people don't like Fortina or this sort of off-white color that they put to make it look like it's much older than it is. I personally love it, especially when it works with the rest of the watch. This entire watch has been designed to be vintage evocative. The bracelet they've opted for it is a beads of rice bracelet, which does tend to be very vintage evocative. And the whole thing, it just works really, really well together. I love what they've done with the 2-register layout, even though it's unfortunately only a 30-minute counter, not a 60 as I would prefer. But still, it looks great, it's symmetrical. They went for a no-date look, so it's a very clean dial. And then there's lots of little touches of red that almost makes you think a little bit of like casino colors, you know, with the black, red. Instead of black, red, and white like you would have in like a deck of cards, for example, it's got that off-white, so it's got a bit of a vintage casino look to it in my view. On the inside, you have a Sellita SW500, which is essentially a Valjoux 7750. So nothing really groundbreaking there, but that also helps them manage the price. This is a Monopusher chronograph for a bit over $5,000 US. Again, a complication that you don't see too often It's something that not everyone will have. So it's a great way to opt into a distinctive watch without having to spend a crazy amount of money and without having to compromise on the quality or reliability either. And with 100 meters water resistance, it's yet another watch that could definitely be a great all-rounder. And that's just a taste of the 2020 highlights from Montblanc. They did release a few others, but these were the two that really stood out in my opinion. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these? I think that Montblanc is definitely a brand that's on the up and up. They're currently being headed by the same person who spearheaded Tudor's resurgence with the Black Bay. So I definitely think they're a brand to keep an eye on. And if you look every single year, they tend to be improving their watch quality standards. They tend to be improving what they're doing and just improving their general identity as a watch brand. You need to remember they were only founded as a watch brand in sort of the mid to late 90s. So this is still a very young brand from a watch's perspective, despite the fact that Montblanc has existed as a brand for much longer, making pens and writing instruments. So personally, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in the future. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of these and what you'd want to see from them in the future. And of course, if you like the video, please do like it and share it. The more people that see this, the better the channel can grow. So please make sure that you share it. If you want to see the infographics that I showed throughout this video, then make sure you follow me on Instagram at Shaluso. And if you want to keep seeing new watch videos, then make sure you subscribe to Shaluso as well. In any case, thanks for watching this video, and we'll catch you on the next one.